Compassion fatigue. This one needs to be done as well. Alright, so Jordan Peterson and Destiny, who was a streamer that I watch, sat down and had a debate about stuff. This was interesting. So someone took the highlights of that debate and one particular scene and made a musical out of it. This young man is actually brilliant. I've shared him multiple times on a what was that? Fuck. Oh, Twitter and other stuff like that. We're gonna get into this. That's what we're gonna do. Let's see how it works. It's 5 minutes. I'll try not to talk too much. I'm in Denmark, dude. My ancestors surrendered both their guns and their spine 80 years ago. I'm a crazy tinfoil hatter, aka conspiracy analyst, so I'm used to being the odd one out. I love it. Denmark. So Denmark is part of the Scandinavians ones, right? So they're the ones that kind of do the what's the word I'm looking for? They're the sock dims, right? Isn't that their thing? Like yeah. Look, I was watching a debate the other day, and someone told me that Denmark and all these sock dim areas completely subsidized their markets, and I was like, no, they didn't. I think they did their energy, and I think that was it. Or not subsidized. I said the wrong word. It took it from privatized. It says stream unavailable. Oh no, it's probably because I reacted to a Ren song, and I have to go in and. Oh no. That's lame. So you can't like watch Ren's stuff live? What the fuck? What? It's. Oh, I'm back. Cool. Ooh, that had me nervous. Strange. All right. Let's see if we can get into this without something bad happening. That was crazy. What the fuck? Or maybe I got hit with Chinchilla. Chinchilla actually uses UMG for her what's it called? Distribution. So they kind of go ape shit on channels, unfortunately. So anytime you react to Chinchilla, you're putting your channel at risk. Anyway, let's get right into this, see what we're working with. I love this guy, man.
Implying that the excess deaths were caused by the vaccine.
I don't bloody well know what they were caused by.
Okay, but that's what you're implying now.
Well, that's... look, if you're going to use Occam's razor, you're kind of stuck in an awkward place here.
I am absolutely not. This is the most administered vaccine or inoculation, whatever you want to call it, in the history of all mankind. Every single organization is motivated to call this out if it was a bad thing. You don't think Russia or China would be screaming if Donald Trump or the United States warp sped through a vaccine that was having deleterious effects on populations around the world? You don't think there wouldn't be some academic institution? You don't think there wouldn't be more than a handful of doctors and Joe Rogan and some conservatives saying this vaccine might have been bad? If it was the case that American companies working with companies in Europe and Germany especially, right, because that's where biotech is from, in order to create and manufacture a vaccine that was causing excess deaths around the world, there are so many different people who would be motivated to call this out. How do
They are calling it out.
A handful of people, where the governments, where the academic institutions calling it out, where are the other private companies calling it out? Wouldn't you stand to make a killing if you were a private company in Europe and you could say, hey look, mRNA vaccines for sure are causing all these issues. Why wouldn't Putin, why wouldn't Xi Jinping, why wouldn't anybody else in the world call this out if it was as horrible as
There
it
are
was?
plenty of people...
Dang, I thought she'd be smart enough to... I mean, it's not a bad thing. She's not the only one. She's not the only one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think Bad Flower did too, or no? Bad Family. Wait, no, what the fuck is the name of the band that I really like? Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. Why is it not working? What? Anyway, they signed with him as well. It's just a bummer, but also by doing that, it's given her access. Didn't she like do something with like a really big star or something like that? it's going to give her the, as much as I hate to say it, it's smart that Ren is staying super independent because, like, he's already super huge. But Chinchilla has the ability to probably, you know, topple, like, the pop icons, you know what I mean? Like, be the next Adele or, you know, one of those. I don't know any of them, really. I don't listen to any of them, but I know, like, the only one I really talk about is Taylor Swift because she's, like, the only one I know of. But something that's interesting about this, let's go back a little bit. I don't like it when people make an appeal to Occam's razor, but they haven't done the groundwork to do it. So, like, what's happening here is Jordan Peterson is talking about how mRNA vaccines are bad for people and that they weren't properly tested and that they could be causing the excess deaths in Europe, which is interesting because we gave it globally. It's not to say that the mRNA vaccine couldn't cause complications or problems. I mean, it can actually give you myocarditis. Now, I think you're like 17 times more likely or something like that, or to get myocarditis from actual COVID. But, so I mean, obviously they're going to put a little of COVID in the COVID vaccine. It's strange though. If we were having excess deaths in just one area, and then we gave the vaccine globally, why would that be? If you are going to use Occam's razor, you would then have to use Occam's razors to say, well, then clearly it's not the vaccine. Like, how are you going to make an appeal to Occam's razor? The most logical thing is probably the most likely outcome. If we gave the vaccine to, like, multiple countries and none of those countries are showing a mass increase of excess deaths outside of the normal parameters or more people dying, but only one country is in Europe, that's a little strange. I love this song. I think I didn't pay adequate attention to the lyrics while writing my comment, but I'm pure, my pure blood. Alright, but like if Occam's razor, if you're going to appeal to Occam's razor, the way that you do that is by, you know, taking all of it. So realistically, if I gave a vaccine to America, Mexico, Canada, Europe, like Greenland, Japan, Russia, and China, and all of these countries are within normal parameters of their normal stuff, except Europe, well, obviously it's not going to be the vaccine, because if the vaccine was the problem, we would see spikes, at least in more countries than just, you know, Europe. So, okay, well now you have to look into why that's happening. What changed in Europe that could have caused excess deaths? Oh, could it potentially have been a war in Ukraine that's causing these excess deaths? Could it be potentially the fact that a lot of people lost their power and they were suffering through a pretty tremendous heavy burden of the war in Ukraine, where Russia was the major supplier of energy to the region? Maybe that could have something to do with it. There's a possibility excess deaths could be tied to it, but you have to lay the groundwork for that. And more importantly, it would have to be reflective somewhere else. So Jordan Peterson making a claim to Occam's razor really doesn't make a lot of sense here, because he's not applying it to the whole scope of what he's talking about. It's a little dangerous, because now he's being selective with what he's applying it to. And why? He's smart enough to know the difference. The man was a fucking doctor. He is a doctor, and he's been one for 20 years. He's been a clinical psychologist, you know, and he's taught these things to people for years. He's got lectures talking about this very topic. But why is he doing that? Is he just trying to win an argument, or is he just trying to, like, curry favor with the audience that he has? It's a very, very strange thing for him to do, especially when he's way more intelligent than, you know, Destiny, because Destiny is just a dipshit person who plays StarCraft and League of Legends and Factoria. And yet, meanwhile, this dorky guy that he's impersonating here, because he's playing both of them, managed to make me think that Jordan Peterson is a hack fuck.
Causing all these issues, why wouldn't Putin, why wouldn't Xi Jinping, why wouldn't anybody else in the world call this out if it was as horrible as it was?
There are plenty of people...
That's what I forgot to cover. So, yes, think about it this way. If America did something really bad, why wouldn't our enemies use that against us? If we were putting out a vaccine that was killing people, why did we give it to Vladimir Putin? Trump did that. That's how that got leaked. He gave it to Putin before he gave it to a majority of the citizens. Let that sink in. 2, if the vaccine was killing people and there was empirical data on it, why wouldn't China or Russia release that to try and discredit the vaccine? Because they don't have the evidence that it does. They guarantee you if they did, they can use it as a talking point and spread it on Twitter and start a massive global war between the people inside. It's just that simple. It's that simple. And if they're not doing it, well, it kind of points that it's probably not happening. Because they have all the incentive to do those things. And it's not happening.
Why wouldn't anybody else in the world call this out if it was as horrible as
There
it
are
was?
plenty of people attempting to call it out.
Nobody credible, no huge institution.
What do you make of the excess deaths? You haven't come up with a bloody hypothesis.
I don't even know if there are 20% excess deaths in Europe right now. If I had to guess off the top of my head, it's gonna be like you said. One might be lingering effects of an overwhelmed healthcare system. One might be deaths related to the war in Ukraine.
Yep.
Another one might be rising energy costs that for a couple of reasons.
But it's absolutely impossible that any of it could be unintended consequences of a novel technology injected into billions of people.
Okay. So if we injected billions of people with the vaccine, and again, only one country is having excess deaths, but no other country is, clearly there's got to be a different factor involved. It could be, if you want to give a good faith interpretation of what the Jordan Peterson is saying, is it could be that the vaccine was the issue, but maybe it could have been another underlying situation. Maybe, just maybe, the vaccine could have exacerbated other issues that exist with people in this typical demographic. Maybe it could be based off of diet. Maybe it could, there's so many factors because we're so malleable and there's so much stuff that happens to a human body that, yeah, dude, it's very possible that this vaccine could have negative ramifications based off of dietary things, based off of your physical capabilities. All of these things are very true. But you have to look into the details, which Peterson isn't doing that. The biggest problem is Peterson just sees 20% excess deaths in Europe and attributes that to the vaccine. And then when you ask him, well, is it the vaccine that's causing the death? He'll say, well, I don't know. Okay, then why are you posing that as it is? That doesn't make any sense. Are you just merely saying it's a possibility it's the vaccine? And he's like, well, we're just going to use Occam's razor. It's like, hold on, no. There are 100 things going on, more so that's more recent than the vaccine, potentially could be causing these deaths. So what Occam's razor are we using here? Doesn't come out in the wash. That's a problem. This was the moment I realized Jordan Peterson was no longer the man he was. We have to understand something about the conversation between Destiny and Jordan Peterson. For a long time, I was a Jordan Peterson head. Whoa! Hey, someone just subscribed. Welcome to the channel. I hope I don't shit on your Cheerios. But I hope you have a good time. Thank you for joining. The reason why I say these things is because when I was younger, in early 2016, Jordan Peterson was saying a lot of smart stuff. I went and looked through his lectures, and he talked about not just rights, but responsibility. The things that we owe the world, and the things that we ought to do. Being the strongest man at your father's funeral. Adopting responsibilities. Know how hard something is. No matter how useless and weak you feel. Pick a goal and accomplish it. Even if it's something as simple as picking up that cup, moving it to another room, and washing that dish. Small, inadequate things can make huge strides to you as a person. that matters. That's important. These are really good messages for people to have. I saw the hit pieces and the smear campaigns by the radical left. I saw Jordan Peterson push for the beautiful communion between left and right. All of these things matter. All of these things are beautiful. We talk about how the left is required because entrepreneurs are these deep, powerful thinkers that actually drive the economy through innovation and ideas. And they're the same people and the same minds that are, interlooped with artistic people. Artists and entrepreneurs have the same slants within, the diagram of characters and personality traits. And our systems don't really reward creative people. We don't have a way to do that. Because if we put people in a corporation, the bottom of the dominance hierarchy, that's going to or competence hierarchy that they're entering into, doesn't reward creative thinking. People that are creative typically try to think outside the box. They don't really operate very well under rules, regulations, or strict, what's the word I'm looking for? Strict parameters. So if your boss tells you this is what you say, this is what you think, this is what you do, creative people are going to suffer in a job like that. But the problem is, the corporation's hierarchy climbs, you need more and more creative people. Because creative people, one, drive business, they drive innovation, and they drive, they drive the market. So you need creative people to build a thing, to make a thing. And then on the flip side, you need the people on the right. The people that are good at showing up 9 to 5, that like structure, that like to do a job, that like to get their hands in there, that need that purpose. Giving a creative person a schedule is like punching them in the face or taking away creativity. Because creativity isn't just something you turn on whenever you want it. Creativity is something that sparks at certain times and certain moments. Some of the best songs are usually done under a lot of pressure. Like, what was it? Kurt Cobain's Smell Like Teen Spirits. They wrote the lyrics for that song like a couple hours before they went on stage. There was a time where Jordan Peterson had these deep philosophical insights about how the left and right need one another and how those things are very important for not only society, but also for us to flourish as people. And then he lost his mind. But the reason I say all of these things is because Jordan Peterson was like a guru to me. I bought his book. I read it. Loved a lot of what he was saying. I thought what he was saying was some of the smartest stuff I'd seen. I saw him do interviews. I saw all the hit pieces that were coming his way. And I watched him one by one destroy them. And I thought he was it. This is it. We're finally going to defeat the radical left and the radical right. This is my hero. This is my soldier. I will fight beside him. And then he lost his fucking mind. And now he's literally part of the radical right. Yes. And watching Destiny, a guy who comes from my background, even though he's better at that background, I never got really good on the professional circuit on any video game. I did win tournaments and stuff like that while I was going around playing like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Street Fighter 4, and stuff like that. Those are my jams. I got really good at Soul Calibur and other games like that. So I didn't climb any professional ladder like he did in StarCraft. And had I not got into trucking and I got into streaming when it was first coming up, I'd probably be a very big streamer myself. But just as my father, who's a hardcore Republican, told me there's no money in this type of work, go out and get a job, a real job, be a man. Streaming wasn't a big thing. YouTube was just starting out. I lost a lot of skills in the 5 years I was truck driving. To the point when I got back with some of my friends, I couldn't compete with them anymore. Anyway, all that to say, so Destiny is like a professional former gamer who made a turn into politics. Watching Destiny go up against my initial hero, Destiny, a person whom I used to not like at all, because their debate with Sky Williams and JonTron, even though he did dog walk JonTron, watching that and watching just a dork that plays video games be able to go up against a fucking psychologist for 20 years who's worked at numerous institutions and helped even, write really important studies. I think when he was an administrator, was it Harvard? I can't remember. I don't remember. But he was at one of these really prestigious areas, and watching him get dog walked by a dork who plays video games is insane. absolutely insane.
Injected into billions of people.
I think, first of all, there aren't billions of people in Europe, so if there were excess deaths,
I never said.
So here's where things get funny. Jordan Peterson was being disingenuous with what he was just saying right there. When he says a vaccine that was injected into billions of people, he is referring to how we did that. But he's using that, right? He's using this argument, this statement that we know is true. It's not, you can verify it. They tracked the vaccines. So we do know it was entered into billions of people. But then on this side, right, he's talking solely about one area of one country that has 20% increased deaths. These two things are not related. So why is it that he's pulling from this pool of people to talk about the deaths over here? So when Destiny in this debate tries to point out, well, hold on, there aren't billions of people in Europe, and we're talking about Europe, Jordan Peterson, in order to be factual, says, why? I'm talking about the whole thing, but this whole thing has nothing to do with this part. You know what I'm saying? That's disingenuous. He's lying. Interesting and problematic, because Jordan Peterson is very smart. He knows what he's doing. This is, to me, evil.
First of all, there aren't billions of people in Europe, so if there were excess deaths,
I never said there were.
And if someone cuts you off before you can make your point, because they don't want you to make the point.
Billions of people in Europe, so if there were excess deaths,
I never said there were.
I understand, but you're talking about excess deaths in Europe. I'm not aware of excess deaths occurring in other places that are completely and totally unaccounted for, where the only explanation would be the vaccine. I think if it were, more people would be talking about it.
We have to. Well, first of all, the number of people talking about something is not an indication of the scientific validity of a claim.
So, because our boy here, Compassion Fatigue, is pointing out the kind of the stupid moment that Jordan Peterson was talking about. Jordan Peterson then tries to obfuscate and then go into, well, hold on. Are you trying to say because a large number of people are saying a thing is true, it's true? Well, no. That's not how you check the scientific validity of a claim. The way that you check a scientific validity of a claim is through peer review and by performing it. You can't just say the majority says this. That's not how it works. Not in science, at least. Now, in politics and other stuff, that is how it works, unfortunately. Or at least with laws and passing stuff. So he's now pivoting to something that has nothing to do with his initial point. Because he's been cornered and he's running.
Talking about something is not an indication of the scientific validity of a claim.
I agree with that.
Why are you using mass consensus as the determinative of what constitutes truth?
But he's not. He's not using mass consensus. You're just lying. He's not using mass consensus. He's using the fact that the masses took a thing and only a subsect of those masses is having an issue. It's not the masses. And this, I like how he can personify both of these characters. Now, this is a small channel. This guy has 7,000 subscribers. He's almost twice my size, but he's small, you know? He's not overly huge or anything like that, but he's playing Destiny as Destiny. And he's playing Peterson as Peterson. Now, his voice doesn't adjust that much, but I can literally see Jordan Peterson and Destiny right here. And I almost forgot we were watching Compassion Fatigue until I hit play. See, I'm going to have to look into that study. Check out the recent scientific study from Japan regarding the jab. Dr. John Campbell did a great video reviewing and explaining it, and they studied a pool of 18 million people, 180 and 360 days after the jab. Okay, happily look into it.
That's never been the case. Because I think for something that was given to billions and billions of people, if it was something that was having a measurable effect on people, it would be impossible to cover it up and ignore it. We wouldn't have to look at the one case brought up in a documentary.
Well,
we wouldn't have to look at the one thing being talked about.
What do you make of the VAERS?
The VAERS data does not indicate anything that this dipshit thinks it does. Not compassion fatigue, but Jordan Peterson. He's being disingenuous when he brings up the VAERS data. The VAERS data is not like this rich tapestry of like information. Let's say you have, what up? It's Clara. I have to make sure I say your name right. Right? Clara. Yeah, I got it. So the VAERS data does not actually indicate like the actual symptoms of a thing. The VAERS data is where you go after you've got a vaccine and you can make any claim you want. I have a headache. Boom, you can insert that into the VAERS data. My left toe hurts. Insert that in the VAERS data. It's not verifiable. It's not something that, you know, is checked or, you know, held up to some standard as this is what the side effects of this are. This is where if you enter enough data and enough people have it, not his. If you enter enough data, enough people have it, they can use that as like a starting point to find more issues. VAERS data is an independent thing where you can just put all your stuff into. If you will consider making me a moderator, I mean, that's always an option. I have to figure out how to do that. But I'll figure it out, and then on probably the next stream, I will definitely start throwing some powers around, because having a little help while doing this stuff is going to be gangsta. All right, let's get back into it. Let's see what gentleman says about the VAERS data. But I've heard Jordan Peterson talk about the VAERS data before. It's never, he's always kind of muddied what it is.
Well, we wouldn't have to look at the one thing being talked about.
What do you make of the VAERS data?
VAERS is not the gold standard for determining whether a vaccine is working or not. Compared to what? Compared to the actually longitudinal, prospective, randomized, controlled trial studies.
You mean like the ones they should have done to the goddamn vaccine?
Like the ones they did do for the vaccine.
Oh, yes!
And continue to do to this day.
I did click those 3 dots, but it's not doing anything. I don't know why. And then, oh, maybe I actually have to do it on the YouTube page. Hold on, let's do this correct. Because I'm actually watching my chat from Streamlabs. All right. Oh God, I don't want to hear myself. Pause. Facts. Yes, they did exactly. Moderation helps everyone feel safe. Oh, okay. Choose who can. Oh, okay. Yep. Nope. This works. Channel activity. Add is a moderator. Boom. I think this one will work. There we go. Yeah, there you go. It's done. All right, sorry about that. So I had to be in my own window. My apologies. Yes, they did do the longitudinal, like, let's go back. They did do those studies for the vaccine. But Jordan Peterson is one of the people, well, I've read those studies and I don't believe them. It's like, okay, dude. So you're like the qualified person to make that decision, that like the scientifics are just, like the scientists are just wrong and you're smarter than them? Is that what you're saying? You have to trust experts to some degree. I'm literally a supermarket and also a biologist having a slight outrage. And hey, don't worry. I will upload the full video so you didn't miss anything. I'm just gonna stream it, and then when I quit streaming tonight, I'm gonna go through, grab the whole stream that's gonna probably be 6 hours, cut out the actual reactions, and then upload them too, so everyone gets the full access to it. No one misses anything. All right, let's see what's going on here.
That is correct. Yes.
Oh, whoops.
You really be impossible to cover it up and ignore it. We wouldn't have to look at the one case brought up on a documentary.
Well,
we wouldn't have to look at the one thing being talked about.
What do you make of the VAERS data?
VAERS is not the gold standard for determining whether a vaccine is working or not.
Compared to what?
Compared to the actually longitudinal, prospective, randomized, controlled trial studies.
You mean like the ones they should have done to the goddamn vaccine?
Like the ones they did do for the vaccine.
Oh, yes.
And continue
yes.
to do to this day. That is correct. Yes.
You
Look how
really
happy he
think you're in a position to evaluate the scientific credibility?
Okay, remember this. He says, you really think you're in the position to evaluate the scientific credibility. I've watched this debate, so I know where this is going to go.
Of trials for the vaccine, do you?
First rule in any debate, if someone answers plainly and quickly with no thought pattern equipped to it, you are about to walk into something they are very well equipped to do. If you just say, well, are you saying this? And they go, yes, or no. No qualifiers, nothing. You're about to walk into a wall. Yay, thanks, I'm honored. Do I look smashing in blue? You do look smashing in blue, I dare say. So, here we go.
No, I don't. So
See how simple? No, I don't. Like, that's dangerous. Watch out.
Of trials for the vaccine, do you?
no, I don't. So I
So
have
what
to
are
trust.
you doing?
I have to trust.
I don't trust them. I've looked at the bloody data.
Oh, so Destiny's not qualified to be someone who can to verify the study, but Jordan Peterson is. I looked at the bloody data and I don't trust them. Hold on, why is it that you alone are allowed to like be the one with enough information or enough wisdom to like, you know what I mean? Like he literally defeated his own argument within like 3 lines. The self-awareness is so low. Oh man, damn it, I was watching your How to Be a Man video. I had no idea this was going on. Hey, don't worry, Pixie, you're not gonna miss anything. Everything that is been recorded, I will upload as a separate video. So all the reactions and stuff are gonna just bounce over, and you might get them a little later tonight or tomorrow morning while I'm recording, streaming again. We putting out a lot of content. That's what we're doing around here. We're about to get it going.
First of all, you have to trust third parties to some extent.
Which data? The verse? No, he was talking about the actual longitudinal studies. Jordan Peterson is saying he read that data and it's not okay. But then he also, before he said that, well, we'll just go back and listen to it because I'd be talking a lot. All right, here we go.
Studies. Vaccine.
VAERS data.
VAERS is not the gold standard for determining whether a vaccine is working or not.
Compared to what?
Compared to the actually longitudinal, prospective, randomized, controlled trial studies.
You mean like the ones they should have done to the goddamn vaccine?
Like the ones they did do for the vaccine.
Oh, yes.
And
Oh,
continue
yes.
to do to this day. That is correct. Yes.
You really?
All right, so right here, you really think you were in a position to evaluate the scientific credibility? Okay. He's not. But why are you? You're not a scientist. You're a fucking dipshit that works for the Daily Wire now. I'm live in a supermarket. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Really think you're in a position to evaluate the scientific credibility of trials for the vaccine, do you?
No, I don't. So I
So
have
what
to
are
trust.
you doing?
I have to trust.
I don't trust them. I've looked at the bloody data.
First of all, you have to trust third parties to some extent when you go.
I don't have to trust
Of
third
course you
parties.
do. You do.
Now, there's a clip out there of Jordan Peterson saying that you have to trust third parties because there's so much information in the world and things are so complicated, you can't know it all. There's nothing wrong with you not knowing a particular thing. That's okay. Like, some people don't know how an engine works, but we have experts that build engines that tell you they're safe, and then they put their name on a thing and they guarantee they're safe, right? And then if there's a problem with that engine, they recall, the vehicle, and then we fix it. I don't know how, like, a nuclear plant works. I trust the experts to run that. I don't know how, there are so many things out there. I don't know how they work. They're experts that do things. And in order to be an expert, sometimes you have to spend 10, 15, 20 years learning a thing. Like, in order to be a doctor, you have to go through, 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, and then 4 years of an internship. And God knows that the entire time you're working, on your days off, you have to go to conferences. You have to go to fucking, there are updates that you have to do with new technologies coming out. You have to take time off. You have to renew licenses. You were constantly learning more things. Experts run a particular area. And then when we go see one of these people, they inform us on what we need to do. So when the climate scientists come out and make a claim, we trust them until there's another person that puts out another study that refutes what they're saying. That's how it works. The same thing with a vaccine. This is how the world operates, right? These are the important factors of what makes something important. And Jordan Peterson knows this. He's been on podcasts before talking about this in great detail about why you have to trust experts and that having experts is a good thing for what you're working through. You need experts and you need people like us that don't know anything. But if you want to learn stuff, there are many ways to become laymen. You can pick up journals, you can pick up studies, you can start reading or watching experts and talking about these things. So the fact that Jordan Peterson is now saying that you can't trust experts, what? Then why would anyone ever go to you as a psychological, what were you? I forgot what. He was a therapist, man. Why would anyone go to his class to listen to his lectures if he wasn't a fucking expert? What? We all intrinsically know that experts have a reason and that we trust them for particular things. So he's saying that he's more qualified than the people making these? His argument falls flat on its face, but because Destiny's a gamer? I'm sorry.
I don't trust them. I've looked at the bloody data. First of all, you have to trust third parties to some extent when you go. I don't have to trust third parties. You do every day when you turn the keys in your car. You hope the engine doesn't explode. When you're drinking water, you hope that the public water or whatever tap or bottle you got it out of isn't contaminated or poisoned with cholera. I don't do that as a consequence of consensus. No, you do. Of course you do. No, I don't. I do that as a consequence of observing multiple times that when I put the goddamn key in the ignition, the truck started. How do you know it's going to start the 50th or 100th times? How many times do you have to... Don't play Hume with me. I'm not playing.
God damn it, dude. Don't play Hume with me. I love it. It's so silly to say that, I trust the car's gonna work because I started it a few times. Okay, well, when I go buy dialysis, I'm not gonna try it a few times. I'm gonna put it in my body. Okay? I will... Whoops, it went to the wrong... Oh, hold on.
Welcome to this talk. Now I want to bring...
I recognize this guy from somewhere. Might have watched him before. Alright. Let's close my thing. I don't want to see my face. Put this in here. And we'll probably give her a watch today, actually. But not... We'll watch this after the song, just so... If there's any counterfactuals to what I'm saying, let's get it out there. I don't want to spread misinformation or be, Jordan Peterson of the Daily Wire.
You know perfectly well why. You don't know if the denim in those jeans isn't leaking into your bloodstream. To some extent, we have to trust third-party institutions to make determinations. Except when they use
use force.
How about
Especially
when
when
they
they
use
use
force? We trust police officers.
Oh, we do.
Trust the
Oh, we do,
judicial
eh?
system.
We on the left trust the police.
To some extent, if someone's
That's
breaking it,
why we defund
not only thunder,
them.
but if somebody's
Well, to be fair, Pixie, this is not my first live stream. I have streamed on and off for about 12 years, mostly on Twitch, but this is my first live stream recently. You know what I mean? Like after getting actual subscribers. Most of the time, I would just live stream video games like Warframe or League of Legends to 0 to 4 viewers you know what I mean? Over the course of 12 years. But this is my first like live stream setup official. I gave up on streaming a long time ago. But now that my mentality is adjusted, I think we can have a lot of fun here. Well, I'm here for. Well, you say that until I start I plan on doing news stuff and stuff. I have a couple of videos that I want to knock out today. I also got to do another reaction to Electric Callboy, which was requested by Dawn of Rhymes. This one I threw up because I really like Destiny and I wanted to see it. I am doing it now. I'm going to do this weekly, Monday through Friday. I'm going to probably start around 9:30 and work until my girlfriend gets home. And then I will start I gotta stop doing that. It's making a clicking sound for the actual thing. And then what was I about to say? Oh, and then of course when she gets here, she's gonna unwind, do her thing on do her vibe. While that's happening, I want to edit the videos and I'm gonna upload them that night, and then hopefully they're up that night or first thing tomorrow morning. So any of the reactions you missed, no stress, no pressure, you'll get them.
breaking into your house, you could be the most defund person in the world. Who are you gonna call? You're gonna call Joe Biden. You're gonna call Obama. You're gonna call the Black Panthers. No, you're gonna call the cops.
I love him, dude. He's got so many good videos. Like, I've seen him pop up. He did the Norm Finkelstein versus Destiny, the musical featuring Mui Raban and Benny Morris, that 5-hour debate. It's a 30-minute song. I think he did one with hold on. Yeah, what you got, Clara? Throw it in, or we will do it. Tell me what you got. But he's got like there's another one in here that was really funny. Oh, no. I was saying, hopefully this is a counterfactual to what I was saying. I'm not saying that he's got misinformation. I apologize. I'm saying that I might give out misinformation. So if I can correct my record, I will. But this one's really cool because he's got really big debates like Bernie Sanders versus Robert F. Kennedy, Jordan Peterson versus Matt Dillahunty, Howard Stern versus Tom Snyder. Jordan Peterson versus Matt Dillahunty is really funny. Oh, cool. I'll definitely watch it. Bill O'Reilly versus Phil Donahue. Glenn Greenwald versus Bill Maher. I love this guy. Gore Vidal versus William F. Buckley, the musical. Ben Affleck versus Bill Maher and Sam Harris. This was such an explosive moment. This is when I realized the left has gone a little too far. When the fact that Sam Harris, one of the founders of like the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, is coming out and talking bad just about religion in general, and because one of those religions happened to be Islam, he gets called racist. It's like, what? You guys don't care when he's criticizing Catholicism or Christianity or Judaism, but as soon as he says something mean against hold on. He's anti-religion. Just because one is a religion of color doesn't mean you can't criticize it. That's crazy. And then watching the Young Turks for 2 years go to war with him and trying to like paint him as this evil monster. It's like, what the fuck is happening? That's when I left the left for a while. I became politically homeless. It wasn't until the last election I said, fuck this. I'm done. I'm a Democrat. I'm tired of fucking sitting here in the middle and like saying, oh, well, I'm kind of on this side, but the far extremes over there I'm not a part of, and